One of the great things about entrepreneurs is they passionately believe in what they're building or doing at any time. And so the DNA just drives you to want to get out of the building and show people exactly what you're doing because you implicitly believe, just implicitly, that you understand not only their problem, but because you implicitly understand their problem, you know exactly what to build. And the only problem you're going to have after you show it to people is you're thinking that you're hoping that your company has a big enough room for you to put all the bags of money that are going to come. It turns out that as much as you believe that, it never happens that way. Because what you have on day one is nothing more than a series of untested hypotheses. And that's just a fancy way for saying you're guessing about most of the things about your startup. You're guessing about pricing. You're guessing about who the customers are. You're guessing about what features they want. This guess about customers and features is called product market fit. And the odds are, while you think you believe, you're more than likely wrong. And therefore, instead of just telling people about your product or just shoving a demo in front of their faces, what you really want to do is to get out, be quiet, and understand their problem and understand how they solve it today.
Well, Dr. Lim, thanks for giving me a little bit of your time. As I mentioned on the phone, we're working on something that is very cool, and I think you'll find very interesting. But before we get into that, I really don't know much about the types of research that you're doing and where this might fit into it. So I really want to ask you some questions about the job that you're doing, the research that you're doing, how you're using in vitro platforms, and where cells integrate into that.
Sure.
So maybe just to start with, could you tell me a little bit about the research that you're doing here?
Yeah, so I'm the Chief Scientific Officer at Excel. We're basically looking at tumor cells. What we do is we take the tumor biopsy and then we try to culture individual cells on Petri dishes.
Right. So could you tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you've encountered, maybe in particular with in vitro systems?
Yeah, the cell-based assays are quite poor. A lot of the experiments are quite challenging.
Great. And could you talk a little bit more about maybe some unmet needs that you have with regard to cell-based models in particular?
Yeah, and we talked about this. I think one of the biggest sort of pain points for us is handling of the cells. We would really like a lot of cells. The ability to sort of grow up these cells would be very, very appealing.
What else should I have asked you today?
Well, that's I think the key thing is a lot of researchers really want to get access to preclinical specimens. And so if you have the ability to guarantee that these cells are plastic in their behavior, I think that would be extremely powerful.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today.
My pleasure.